You can feel it, can't you? That low-frequency hum of constant anxiety. That subtle, cold vibration in the pit of your stomach that tells you something, somewhere, is about to go wrong. It visits you when the house is quiet at 3 a.m. It sits beside you during the commute. It is the phantom notification on your phone that you dread checking. Maybe it is the global economy shifting beneath your feet, the headlines screaming about recession and collapse. Maybe it is your health, a lingering pain you've been ignoring, or a sudden realization of your own physical fragility. Maybe it is a vital relationship that currently feels like it is being held together by a single, fraying thread, and you are terrified that one wrong word will snap it forever. You are trying your best to stay positive. You are trying to manifest good things and repeat your affirmations in the mirror. You tell yourself that if you just think happy thoughts, happy things will happen. But in the back of your mind, in the dark corners where you don't like to look, you're terrified. You feel like you are living in a beautiful glass house, surrounded by piles of rocks, just holding your breath and waiting for the very first stone to be thrown. You are living in a state of suspended fear. You are walking through life on tiptoes, hoping that if you are quiet enough, tragedy won't notice you. You feel stuck because your entire strategy for the future is based on prevention rather than preparation. You are spending all of your precious mental energy trying to make sure a crisis never happens. You are trying to bribe the clouds and negotiate with the storm. You are exhausting yourself trying to control variables that were never yours to control in the first place. But here is the brutal, unvarnished truth. Crises are a non-negotiable part of the human contract. They are not bugs in the system. They are the system. Entropy, loss, change, and difficulty are the default states of the universe. By trying to avoid the storm at all costs, you have actually made yourself fragile. You have become so dependent on things going perfectly that the slightest delay, the smallest setback, or a single no feels like the absolute end of the world. You haven't built a mind that can survive a crisis. You have built a life that requires the total absence of one. You are like a captain who has only ever sailed on a calm lake, terrified of the open ocean. You are not prepared. You are just hopeful. And hope is a terrible strategy for a hurricane. Hope does not reinforce the walls. Hope does not stock the pantry. Hope does not steel the nerves. The Stoics had a practice that seems dark, even morbid at first glance. But for 2,000 years, it has been the ultimate source of human peace and unshakable strength. It is called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. The philosopher Seneca, a man who faced exile, political ruin, and eventually a forced suicide, wrote extensively on this. He said, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they finally arrive." Preparation is not about being a pessimist. It is not about wallowing in misery or inviting disaster. It is about being an architect of your own resilience. A Stoic does not just hope for the best and ignore the rest. They mentally rehearse the worst. They sit in the quiet and ask themselves the hard, uncomfortable questions that everyone else avoids. What if I lose my job tomorrow? What if I lose my physical mobility? What if my reputation is destroyed? What if the people I love most decide to leave me? This is not anxiety. This is a fire drill. Anxiety is a vague, shapeless fog of what-ifs that paralyzes you. Premeditatio Malorum is a specific, logical examination of reality. By looking the monster directly in the eye before it arrives, you strip it of its greatest weapon: surprise. Seneca argued that disaster weighs most heavily on those whom it takes by surprise. The shock is often more damaging than the event itself. When the crisis finally hits, and let us be clear, it will hit, everyone else will be paralyzed by shock, denial, and grief. They will scream, "Why is this happening to me?" But you will be steady. You will be the one everyone else looks to for leadership. Because in your mind, you have already been there. You have already faced the darkness. You have walked through the valley of the shadow in your meditation, and you have already survived it. You have inoculated yourself against the chaos. To build an unshakable foundation today, to turn your mind into a fortress that can withstand any siege, I want you to use these two mental drills. First, the poverty rehearsal. This comes directly from Seneca's letters. Once a month, I want you to live for 2 full days as if your worst financial fear has come true. This is not a thought experiment. This is a physical enactment. Eat only the simplest food, plain rice or stale bread. Drink only lukewarm water. Sleep on the hard floor with a thin blanket. Wear your oldest, most worn-out clothes. Do not use entertainment or luxury. At the end of those 2 days, look in the mirror, tired and hungry, and ask yourself, is this the condition I was so terrified of? You will realize something profound. You will realize that you are still alive. You are still you. Your character is intact. Your mind is still sharp. You will realize that your soul is untouched by your circumstances. We fear poverty because we think it means the end of our existence. But this practice proves that happiness is cheap, and survival is simpler than we think. Once you lose the fear of losing your stuff, you become truly dangerous to your own anxiety. You become invincible, because you no longer need luxury to feel safe. Second, the resilience portfolio. Anxiety lies to you. It tells you that you are weak and incompetent. To fight this, instead of just an emergency fund for your money, create an emergency ledger for your mind. Write down 3 specific times in your past when you survived something you thought would break you. A heartbreak that felt like the end of the world. A professional failure that felt like humiliation. A loss of a loved one that felt non-survivable. Write them down in detail. When a new crisis looms on the horizon and you feel that familiar flutter of panic, open that portfolio. Look at that list. Remind yourself, I am the person who survived that. I am the person who walked through that fire and came out the other side. Therefore, I am the person who can survive this. Your past victories are the heavy stones of your internal fortress. You are not starting from scratch. You are starting from experience. You have a track record of survival that is 100% successful. Use it. You cannot control the storm. That is the territory of the gods, of fate, of the chaotic universe we inhabit. But you can build a much better ship. You can sew stronger sails. You can train a braver crew. Stop wishing for an easy life. An easy life creates a weak pilot. Start building the strength to handle a hard one. Start building a mind that does not flinch when the waves crash over the bow. The goal of Stoicism is not to have a life free of trouble, but to have a mind that is free of fear, regardless of the trouble. If you're ready to stop being a victim of the future and start being the master of your own mind, then subscribe and join us. We are on day 16 of 30. We are past the halfway point, and the training is getting deeper with every breath. We are moving from theory into the forging of the soul. Check the link in the description for our full mental discipline series. Do not wait for the storm to start before you begin to build your shelter. Be ready. Stay stoic.